Hey ReformRx crew, Kourtney here. I am so excited to take you through one of my favorite ways to target the glutes. Quick and efficient, 20 minutes, but super spicy. We're gonna use the Pilates ball in addition to the reformer. You won't need it quite yet, but just have that on hand. We're gonna start lying down onto the back bar in third position, all springs on except for the blue. It's a little heavier. You're gonna lie down in a supine position. Meet me on your back. Once you get there, you're gonna find a neutral spine. So not too arched, not too tucked, just a quick kind of reminder. Your neutral spine is that small curve in your low back, core engaged. Bring the heels together, knees and toes slightly apart. I love this turned out position. Really gets the glutes going more than just the hamstrings in a parallel position. So really try to keep that turned out position through this whole kind of first series. You're really gonna feel those glutes a lot more. So take a little inhale through your rib cage, through your diaphragm, and then just exhale for me and feel all the air come out of your lungs. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, expand the ribs, and then exhale all the air out. Feel that core, that deep core, transverse abdominals start to contract. 1 more in. On the next one, exhale, start to press or imprint your back into the ground. Come up to a small bridge, probably smaller or lower than you might think. So, just as a quick reminder, we want to be mindful not to overarch into this lumbar. So that deep breathing, that pressing of your core down is going to be really helpful for making sure you're staying in these glutes here versus going into the low back. So if you start to feel your low back at all, check on those ribs. It's as if someone was putting their hand behind your back and you're really, really pressing down through those upper abs and lifting through the pelvis. From there, start to make a teeny little pulse. Just wake everything up, squeeze the heels together. Notice how small I'm making this. We're gonna do a super, super slow and tiny little movement. So focusing on working deeper, not bigger, just going a little bit juicier into the work, and don't worry so much about how big it is. Give me 8. Exhale as you can, lifting for 6. Keep going for 4, little pulse for 3, hopefully starting to feel a little heat through the back of the legs. And then when you come down, start with the upper abs, peel down each vertebrae one at a time back to neutral. Let's play with that a little bit more. Roll up, slow, all the way now. Reaching those knees forward at the top. Little inhale at the top, exhale, roll down, right? So just massaging the spine as we're moving and engaging the glutes, hamstrings, inner thighs, just like that. Reach, find that picture perfect moment, really tighten the core, roll down, reaching those arms as you roll. 2 more, just like that. Inhale, prepare, exhale, roll up, squeeze those glutes, keep wrapping, right? That external rotation, so great. These bridges are amazing. You get every single muscle in those glutes, so not just the maximus, medius, minimus, you get those deep hip rotators that really help stabilize the pelvis and the hips. So we love these bridge series. Next one, hold it up. From here, you're gonna start to move a little bit. So instead of just pressing the carriage out, lift the pelvis as you push the carriage out. So what's gonna wanna happen is the butt's gonna wanna drop like that. So I want you to really think about lifting the pelvis, really extending through the hips. And maybe if your pelvis starts to drop, you don't go all the way out. So start smaller, lift, and prioritize keeping the pelvis as high as it was when the carriage was in. So maybe you look down at your hips and you see, you can see if your pelvis starts to drop, you'll notice, right, if you're looking at the hip bones. So that's kind of a nice little cue. Lift, and then I see my hips start to drop, maybe I go there, right? And then you're really gonna feel it fire through. 2 more just like that. And if you can go all the way straight, keeping those pelvises high, excellent, even better. 1 more. All about that hip extension as you go out. Hold it in, pause, retuck the tail a little bit more. 4, squeeze nice and tight. 3, 2, and roll it down. Good little warm up there. Kind of similar, kind of different, not going too far. You're going to a wide second position. So a little bit wider than your hips, still opening with the hips and the knees and the toes. You're gonna roll back up, so a little bit wider now. You're gonna take a little circle for me. So just pick a direction and start to circle. So giving that low back, just kind of unwinding it, getting different angles. You might feel your inner thighs a little bit more here in the back, still underneath those glutes, so good. And just do one more. Nice easy breath, reverse. Go the other way, one exhale, one circle. Woo, we are feeling those glutes. I hope you are too. All the good stuff, every little spot that we want to feel, we're getting it, right? Just keep checking on those ribs, being mindful. It's almost like a teeter-totter motion. So as the hips come up, the ribs go down. There's that sense of opposition there. Hold it up. Start to move the legs, turn in, and then turn out. So internally rotating the hips, and then externally rotating, kind of like a little fan, but the pelvis stays still, turning in, and then turning out. You feel that? Your inner thighs, yeah, when you squeeze in, and then the glutes really wrapping as you press out. 3 more in, and exhale. 2 more. Woo, starts to really feel those inner thighs in the back, right? 1 more, turn in and hold it. And then we're gonna try similar, right? So you're gonna press out, but lift the pelvis as you push. And again, don't worry about pressing all the way out. Don't worry about it. Just worry about the pelvis lifting as you're pushing. It's a smaller movement, but it's so much more effective. It can be. Lift and push, lengthening through those quads, opening up through the hips. My butt is on fire. Hold it out. Quick little second, slowly bring it back, and I'm gonna give you a little break. Give me 2 more. Now we're shaking, right? You wanna get to that point where you're shaking, get that mind-muscle connection out, all the way back. Let's do 1 more for good measure. All the way in, hold, and then roll down 1 vertebrae at a time, and hug your knees to your chest for a sec. Yeah, just give it a nice little hug. You deserve it. Do some hip circles, whatever feels good. A little stretch for the low back, little opening of the hips. All right, we're gonna turn onto our side. Little transition here. So you're gonna grab the ball, you're gonna come up. You need 1 red spring. So 1 red, the bar can stay the same. And once you get there, you're gonna lie onto your side. You're gonna loop your strap through your foot. So I'm gonna go for the long loop. If you feel like you want a little more tension, you can do the short loop, but maybe start with the long loop because it's gonna get pretty spicy here in just a second. So we're going for a little clam series. You're gonna find your neutral again, right? So imagine there's like a wall behind your back, and you've got a nice flat back here. So shoulders touching the wall, sacrum touching the wall, that bone right above your hips, and then your core's engaged. Yeah, and if you can think about it, if you could fit a little hand underneath there, even better, so we're not kind of sinking into it. We're lifting up and out of the waist. So a little space is great. Bring the heels up. You're gonna slowly start to open, right? So the heels are high, and you're not gonna move your feet once you get there. You're gonna open just that top leg. So start there. Take it real slow. We're gonna do lots of little variations. For this one, the machine not moving, yeah? And what you can do is actually put your left hand on your booty, and it's gonna really help the brain connect to that muscle. So get a little handsy with yourself, don't be afraid, and just feel it, right? Because it's all about that proprioception, and touch is huge for that. So I always recommend touching where you want to feel versus where you don't want to feel, right? So don't fixate on where you don't want to feel, but go ahead and touch the area that you really want to fire up. So keep your hand on your glute, really just kind of keeps you there in that work. Do 2 more, squeeze and lift. Starting to feel it, little outer left butt, and then hold it up. Little pulse right here. So again, no bouncing. When you say pulse, I feel like people just think bounce, right? It's like, it's just going deeper. It's just more into the work. So 8, give me 6, keep breathing through it. For 4, then we rest. 3, 2, hold it on 1. Big finish, right? Gotta hold it and then rest for a second. Woo, give it a little schmack, a little tap tap. Yeah, get rid of some of that lactic acid. Not done yet, so we did a turnout. Now you get to relax the bottom leg. You're just gonna hover that top leg up. So find like a 90-degree angle. So your knees in line with your hip, and your foot can either be flexed or relaxed. But just what I say is, like, if you could balance like a little teacup on your knee. Yeah, so if you're too internally rotated, it's gonna drop, and if it's too externally, you get the idea, right? So parallel, perfect little teacup right there on your knee. So once you get there, hold. You're gonna lift just 2 inches up and 2 inches down. So keep, that tension on the back of the leg. You should feel right away without even moving that tension there. And you're gonna feel it right away. Lift on the exhale and down, up and down. Keep going. Lift and lower. 5 more just like that. Exhale on the up, right on the harder part. So lift. 2 more. This is like slow but deadly here. We're just building, building, building. Hold it up. Ooh, do you see me? My legs shaking a little bit. You find the shakes? We're gonna turn this into a circle. If you need a break, take a break. Little gecko variation of this. So you're gonna turn and you're gonna make a little circle. So the goal is to move the leg in the hip socket without opening up the pelvis, right? So that's the hard part, and that's why it's helpful to keep your hand there, because if you can feel how your pelvis wants to go. So use it like a guide and really work deeply into the hips. So you're like, oh, okay, I'm about there, and then the pelvis wants to open, and that's when you start to press, bring it back to parallel, just like that. 2 more. Lift. It's all about negotiating, right? It's like this negotiation between your hip and your pelvis. How much can my hip move? And how stable can my pelvis be? Now we're gonna reverse it. So opening up through the hip, extend, externally rotate it. You'll feel it so intensely, deeply in that glute. So many different muscles working here. Lift up and over. Stay calm. Even when it gets hard, keep that nervous system calm. 2 more. The break is coming. I promise. 1 more. No holds, no pulses for this one. Just go back, crank it around, and then all the way in, and just hang for a second. So think just intervals, like you're working hard and then you're resting, working hard and then you're resting, right? Give it a little tap. Got 1 more little variation here. We're gonna add a little bit of a straight leg. So start the same way. When you're ready, mentally prepare. Here we go. You're gonna lift up, hold it. You're gonna extend all the way straight. Just be mindful that it doesn't hit your nose, but it should be pretty much almost there, right? It's kind of like a guide. So lengthening out, really reach, right? See how I went from like this? Do you see how I lengthened it and I grew like maybe 2 more inches? So the reach is even more important than like the height. So really find the length of the leg, already feeling that glute just by reaching that much more, and then you're gonna sweep. So you're only gonna go until you feel that hamstring stretch, and then you're gonna sweep it back. So a little hammer kick here, little hammer kick. You're gonna reach forward and stick your booty out. Like really stick it out. So maybe you only come to here if your hamstrings are pretty tight. That's totally fine. You gotta prioritize something always. So for this workout, this exercise, prioritize the pelvic stability and then only moving the limb as much as that pelvis stays super stable. Reach. Couple more. The left side's gonna get a little break after this. Promise. 3. Reach it back. If you flex your foot, you're gonna get even more of a stretch. So if you want extra, really flex it, dorsiflex, pull, and then reach. We can do it. We got it. Ooh, we're getting there. Hold it back. The shakes are coming. Find it diagonal position right here. Yeah, little circle. Oh my gosh, so close. Give me 5. 4 more. And then you guessed it, we gotta reverse it too. 2. And reverse, go the other way, up and around, using that outer glute. That's that little peach one, right? So that lifts your butt up, makes that nice little peach shape. So we love the glute medius for that reason. We go 2, we got 1 more thing, stay with me. Sweep it all the way forward, stick that booty out, little pulse, little lift. If you're not shaking yet, I don't even know. You got way stronger glutes than me, because look at this, look at this. This is quivering right here. We got 3, we got 2. We love to hate it, right? We hold it up and rest. Oh my gosh. Take a little moment, just come back to yourself. That was like a little spiritual moment there. That was a lot. You're gonna take it off. You're gonna switch to the other side. Oh, come on up, however you wanna do this. Switcheroo. The tough part of this is that you're gonna get work through that same left glute, whether you kind of like it or not. So even though we're mostly gonna feel the right side now, you're still gonna feel the other side. So that's the bad news, but we get a little break. So that's the good news. Bring your heels together. Find your neutral spine, yeah? Hand on the butt if you want it there. I'm gonna bring the heels pretty much in line with my pelvis. So I'm a little more, let's say, I'm not quite 90 degrees now. So for the clam, extend your hips a little bit more and then bring the heels up. So when you open, you're gonna feel a little more glute that way. Yeah, so opening up the hips, the knees are a little bit lower than the hips. All right, here we go. Just start to warm it up. Start to see how this side feels compared to the first. Both of the heels are squeezing, externally rotating through that top leg. Couple more now. The thing is, we want to make sure we work this side just as intentionally as the first. Second side doesn't always get as much love, so we want to make sure we give this guy just as much love as that first side. Give me 3. Big exhale for 2. 1 more. You guessed it, little pulses, hold it up here, little teeny ones. Again, forget the bounce and just go deeper, like you're just cranking your leg, like in your socket. I just think of like really cranking that leg bone around and around and around, because that's exactly what it's doing in that acetabulum, in that socket. Give me 3, give me 2, give me 1 more hold. Squeeze both butts, right? Feel both of them working. Even though you think you're working unilaterally, you're always working bilaterally through both hips. Bring the knee in. Hang for a sec. A little tap, tap. Ooh, feels so good. All right, we went turned out. Let's go parallel. Let's find that teacup. Your bottom leg gets to relax as much as it can. Excuse me. You're gonna bring the knee to that parallel position. Find your teacup, not too internal, not too external. You got some tension on the back of the hamstring there, you should. We're already feeling it, we're already burning, but we're gonna do it. Here we go. You're lifting 2 inches, right? These are tiny, tiny little movements. So effective, so juicy, so small. And lift. And lift. So you're gonna feel a little bit different, right? So maybe not quite deep in the butt, but more of the outside glute here. So we wanna make sure we get every single angle of these glutes. So important. Absolutely the foundation of everything we do is this glute strength. Helps our pelvic floor activate more. It helps our core work better. It helps us get out of our hip flexors. It protects our low back. Million different reasons why these glutes are so, so, so important. Plus, aesthetically, you know, we like them for that reason too. So functionally and aesthetically, big, big glute fan over here. You're gonna turn this into that little gecko. So open up, reach, start to move the machine, right? Negotiate. So the hands on the butt, and we're trying really hard not to open up this pelvis here. So we're gonna crank it, moving in the hip socket, but really stabilizing through the pelvis, finding that stability. In, open, exhale. Just keep thinking that the exhale happens on the harder part of the exercise when we're pushing, right? Using that power in the breath, which helps the core. And like I said, the pelvic floor work, it's all good. It all works together. Everything is full body, whether we like it or not. Can't ever fully isolate one muscle group, right? Everything works synergistically together as it should. Reverse, go the other way. Opening up those hips, crank it around. Oh man. You just want to stay calm, right? It's going to get really tough if you're not already shaking, if you're not already burning. You want to stay with it. Just tell yourself you can do it, right? You did it on the first side. You got this here. Crank it around. And you know what? If you need a break, take a break. It's not a big deal. Come back when you're ready. Don't want to overdo it. In, rest for a second, right? Take those breaks when you need them. Everyone's going to be a little bit different in terms of how many reps they need. You know, some people might need 10 reps, some people might only need 5 to start feeling the burn and the shake. So, you know, listen to your body too. All right, last round here. Mentally preparing for this. We're gonna do one more. You're reaching out, find that length, right? So really reaching. You see that again? So like lifting the or hiking the hip up versus lengthening through, so much better and more stable through the pelvis, and then also really more active through the glutes just by lengthening and reaching, reaching, reaching. Now keep reaching as you sweep. Here come those hammer kicks. You're gonna reach forward and back, right? But the temptation is for the pelvis to start rounding and tucking here, even though it's gonna feel like you're getting a bigger range of motion. Really prioritize just sticking that booty out, like someone's pulling up your pants. Like you got that little wedgie behind you as your leg goes forward. And until you feel that hamstring stretch, pause and then squeeze to reach. So close. We're getting to that grand finale here. All the way back. Take your time, slow and juicy. Give me 3 more. Exhale back. Always pairing that breath with the movement. 2. Right where that rope almost touches your nose. Reach, reach, reach. Last one. One more good one. Full extension all the way back. And then you're going to find that diagonal. You got it. Last little push here. Little circle. Up and around. Ooh. So again, length over height for 3. Keep reaching. You can flex. You can reach with your heel if that's helpful. Reverse. Up and around. Woo. Getting there. Big finish. One more, sweep it forward. If you're not shaken yet, here it comes. Hold it, little pulse. Stick that booty out. Last push. 8. Yes, you can. 6. We're shaking. 4, 3, 2. Hold it on 1. Don't forget. Hold, 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 hold. And rest. Ooh, you made it. Give it a little tap. Take your time coming out of that guy. You're gonna not go too far. Once you get there, you can actually take the foot out of the strap and then just lie onto your back. Ooh, very gracefully, more than me. And you can take the same strap and you can cross it over and just take a little figure 4 stretch. So you can keep your foot on the bar if that feels good, or if you wanna add a little bit, it's gonna give you a nice little stretch there. So just little pigeon pose, little figure 4. Breathe for a couple seconds, just to stretch out all that goodness. And then we'll switch. Other side, just to make sure we're nice and even. Left, cross it. Again, maybe you just kind of pull a little bit, or you can add the leg. Whatever feels good. Alrighty. Carefully come out of that, or you can hang out a bit longer in that stretch if you'd like. Otherwise, you are all cooked in those glutes. Thank you so much for joining me. I love that series. I hope you do too. We will see you next time very soon on your RX Reformer.